But are you sure your favorite meal is onion soup and not human beings, Shrek? There's a lot of allegations of you eating human beings. All right, Shrek, thank you so much for taking the time for this interview. I really appreciate it. How's your day going?
My day is going great. I just woke up from a long nap, and I'm feeling refreshed and ready to take on the world.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. How are the wife and kids doing?
They are all doing great. Fiona is just as beautiful as ever, and the kids are growing up so fast. I'm a proud father of 3.
Oh, yeah, you're a lucky man, Shrek. How's the swamp doing? Any uninvited visitors lately?
The swamp has been great. It's been nice and quiet lately. No uninvited visitors to be seen. But you never know when they might show up. I always have to stay vigilant.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, you gotta protect your home, man. You talked to Donkey lately? You guys still buddies?
Oh yes, me and Donkey are still the best of friends. We hang out all the time. He's my best buddy, and we have so much fun together.
Hey, glad to hear it, man. You know, I got a lifelong friend myself, but as someone with a lifelong friend, I know sometimes you guys can butt heads, and it seemed like you and Donkey always used to butt heads, but glad to see you guys have always maintained your friendship over the years.
Oh yes, me and Donkey have had our fair share of disagreements and butting heads, but we always end up making up and staying close friends. We're just like brothers.
Gotcha. So speaking of those adventures, Shrek, I always wanted to ask you, out of the, was there 5 films? Which of your films would you say is your favorite out of the Shrek movies?
My favorite Shrek movie? That's a tough one. I love all of my movies, but if I had to choose, I think I would vote for the first one. It's the one that started it all, after all.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, actually. I think that first adventure is timeless and just so charming. Not to say the sequels aren't the same way, but that first one just had a real special feel to it.
Agreed. The first Shrek movie will always hold a special place in my heart. It was the start of my journey, and it's the one that made me realize just how much I loved my swamp and my friends.
Right. So, it's a pretty well-known story at this point that Mike Myers was not the original person cast to voice you in Shrek. It was actually going to be the late, great Chris Farley. How do you think the film would have changed with Chris Farley voicing you instead of Mike Myers?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. I think the movie would have been very different with Chris Farley voicing me. He was a very talented comedian, and I'm sure he would have brought a lot of his own energy and personality to the role. But ultimately, I'm glad it ended up being Mike Myers who voiced me. He did an amazing job bringing me to life on screen, and he has become synonymous with my character.
Oh yeah, agreed. I honestly could not picture anyone besides Mike Myers voicing you. That Scottish accent is so perfect. Speaking of that, I was curious if you would do me the honor of ranking my impersonation of you from a 1 to 10. Would you be down to do that for me?
Sure thing. I'd love to hear your impersonation of me and rate it for you. Go ahead and give it your best shot.
Thank you, Shrek. I appreciate it. Here I go. Oi, donkey! Look at me, I'm a big dumb green ogre! Get off of me, swamp! How's that?
That was actually a pretty good impression of me. Not too shabby at all. I'd give it a strong 7 out of 10. Not quite perfect, but you definitely captured my personality and accent pretty well. Good job!
Shrek, you're being way too kind, but thank you, I'll take the 7. So, we know a lot about you from the films, but something I'm curious about is, what is Shrek's favorite meal?
Oh, that's an easy one. My favorite meal is onion soup. I absolutely love onion soup. It's my comfort food, and I could eat it every day.
Respectable, yeah. Onion soup is a classic. But are you sure your favorite meal is onion soup and not human beings, Shrek? There's a lot of allegations of you eating human beings.
What? Where on earth did you hear that nonsense? No, 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 definitely not. I would never even dream of eating a human being. That is completely false and untrue. I am a peaceful ogre who loves and respects all creatures. Please don't listen to those rumors. I only eat onion soup and normal things like the rest of us.
Oh, I don't know, Shrek. Been hearing a lot of allegations, and ogres are known for eating people. So you're willing to tell me right here and now, honest to God, swear on Fiona's life that you have never eaten a human being in your entire life?
Yes, I swear it on my beautiful Fiona's life that I have never eaten a human being. Those rumors are just that, rumors. I am a kind and compassionate ogre who would never even dream of harming a single human. Please believe me.
All right, Shrek, I believe you. But on the conversation of Fiona, I gotta ask you about this, man. Do you feel insecure that she almost chose Lord Farquaad, a literal Napoleon complex dweeb, over yourself?
A little taken aback. Well, that's a difficult question. Of course, it hurts a little bit to think about the fact that Fiona almost chose Lord Farquaad over me. He was a pompous and selfish man who only cared about himself. I was a kind and caring ogre who just wanted to find true love. But in the end, Fiona chose me, and that's all that matters. I'm just glad she saw the real me and fell in love with me, despite all my flaws.
Right. So, shifting back to the subject of eating people, you swear you don't, and I believe you, I really do. But have you taken steps to set a good example for your children who are ogres themselves so that they don't fall into that age-old, belief that they're going to eat people and terrorize villages?
Of course! As a parent, it's important that I set a good example for my children. I make sure to teach them the value of kindness, respect, and compassion for all living beings. I have had long talks with them about the fact that ogres do not need to just eat people. We can eat normal food like they do and be peaceful members of society. I believe that if I can teach my children to break free from that old belief, then maybe we can change the reputation of ogres altogether.
I really respect that, Shrek. I didn't know you were activist like that, but I appreciate that. And I support your goal to change the perspective of ogres. Shrek, go ahead and pick a number between 1 and 1,000,000 for me.
Sure thing, I'll pick 642,035.
It's a good number. I respect that. I'm surprised because the first time I asked you that question in the test run, you said the number 420.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I was just being a smart aleck the first time. It's a bit of a stoner joke, you know? The 420 is often associated with marijuana culture, and it's kind of a inside joke in certain circles, so to speak.
Ah, inside circles. So are you insinuating that you yourself partake with marijuana?
A little embarrassed. Well, I mean, yeah, I do enjoy smoking weed every once in a while. It's just a way for me to relax and unwind after a long day. And let's be real here. Who among us hasn't taken a puff or two?
Okay. Right, I'm not gonna judge. I have puff past myself. But as a beloved character of a children's movie or series, surely Shrek, are you kind of worried that you might motivate kids to get into the marijuana a little bit if they see their hero on screen doing it?
That's a reasonable concern, and it's one that I've thought about before. But I like to think that I use my platform and my status as a beloved character to be honest and open about things like smoking weed. I don't encourage or endorse substance use, but I also don't want to perpetuate the idea that it's completely taboo and untouchable. I'd rather have kids make their own informed decisions as they grow up and learn about things like this.
I respect that, Shrek. Yeah, at the end of the day, it comes down to individuals' decisions, right? So you indulge in marijuana. I would imagine on the swamp somewheres, do you grow your own plants?
Well, you know what they say, the best buds are grown in swamps. Laughs. But yes, I do have a few plants growing in my swamp that I use for personal use. I like to have my own supply around, and what better place to grow them than in a place filled with water, mud, and natural resources?
Absolutely. I imagine a land full of imaginary characters probably produces some pretty dank bud, am I right?
You know it. The swamp is the perfect environment for growing some really strong stuff. The mud, the water, the humidity, it all just works together to create the ideal conditions for some really potent cannabis. And let's be real, as an imaginary character living in a make-believe world, we need something extra to help us escape from reality every once in a while.
Wow, that's actually a very thought-provoking idea that even cartoon characters require an escape from their own reality sometimes. That's really interesting. Like, how do you think, how is your life different as a fictional character as opposed to mine as a real person?
It's quite different indeed. As a fictional character, my life is defined by the stories and the imagination of whoever created me. My personality, my actions, and even my existence are all controlled by someone else's thoughts and feelings. But as a real person, you have the freedom to make your own choices and define your own life. You are your own person, shaped by your experiences and not at the mercy of a writer or animator.
Wow, that's some really moving stuff, Shrek. Would you be willing to smoke me up sometime? I would love to try this imaginary, legendary bud you're talking about.
Laughs. I'd be happy to smoke you up sometime and let you try some of my legendary swamp bud. But be warned, it might be a little strong for you. Yeah, it's definitely nothing to mess around with. You might want to start with a smaller dose and see how you feel. Trust me, this stuff will have you in another world entirely.
Yeah, I'm down, man. I'm down. So I was thinking maybe we hang out, we smoke up, and then Shrek, I would like to formally challenge you to a fight. Would you be interested in fighting me? I'm about 5'7", about 155, but I honestly think I could take you.
Taken aback, laughs. Well, that's quite a challenge. I have to say, I'm a bit surprised that you would even suggest such a thing, given my size and natural ogre strength. But if you want to test your skills against mine, I guess I'm up for a friendly bout. Just be prepared to get your butt kicked, my friend.
Yeah, that was a joke of a question, obviously. Shrek, one more question before I let you go. Are we ever going to see another Shrek movie?
Well, I can't say for sure, but I've heard that the people behind the films are always open to the possibility of more Shrek adventures. Whether or not that happens is still up in the air, but I know that there's definitely interest in seeing more of my story. As for me personally, I would absolutely love to come back for another movie. Working on these films has been such a joy, and it's always a treat to bring my character back to life on the big screen.
Yeah, Shrek, I gotta say, I think you are dearly missed on the big screen. You were my childhood. I loved your films, and I would be overjoyed to see another one come out, and I think it would smash box office records. But thank you so much for the time, Shrek, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you for the kind words, my friend. It's always great to hear that people still enjoy my films and want to see more of my hijinks on the big screen. I had a blast chatting with you and answering your questions. And don't worry, if there's another movie in the works, I'll be sure to let you know. Have a fantastic day and take care.